Well, I'm back at you with another action figure video, and I thought I would really mix it up today and show you a lot of different types of action figures. So, as you can see, I've got Marvel Legends, Star Trek, Masters of the Universe, and then Mega Constructs Masters of the Universe. And just for good measure, I even brought out my old He-Man so we could compare the Beast-Man and He-Man with the small versions in this set right here. And this Himdall action figure, I can complete my Bro Thor Build-A-Figure. So I'm really excited about this video. These are presents from Mary for Christmas, and so I am blown away, and I'm going to open these and show them to you and review them. Okay, so I think before I start too much farther, I'm going to need a pair of scissors. Okay. So, where should we begin? Well, let's look at the packaging. With this Star Trek figure, we can see the other characters in the line. Very much the classic Mego packaging. And the scene on the back I really like because as a kid, I always wanted these. And they would put this very scene in the catalogs for Sears and other stores that had this very scene. So I always thought it was cool. I think that these came out for the cartoon show. So anyway, well, when we lived in Chico, Texas, one of the guys who worked for my dad at the feed store had this set, and I always wished he would give it to me. But he never did. He did buy me an E.T. figure though, and he bought me a G.I. Joe figure. But yeah, I offered to like do chores or anything, you know. But I have my own now. So I'm gonna cut. Maybe enough. And the figure itself is pretty good face likeness. Comes with the standard Starfleet equipment and highly articulated with the old Mego Maker's Mark on the back of the neck. And I'm gonna keep this picture on the back because to get that pose just right. I really excited to own this. And the phaser is kind of rubber banded to the belt, but he never really carried a phaser. Very nice. The boots are kind of like the whole leg. Very cool figure. Now, let's look at old Jean-Luc. This is the same company. Marty Abrams presents Mego. On the back, you see Jean-Luc Picard, Data, and Q. The same story. Marty Abrams, also known as the father of the action figure, has relaunched these figures in response to overwhelming demand. Mego Corp was started by his father, David Abrams, in 1954, and named by his younger brother, Howard, who would say Mego 2. Howard later became head of sales for the company. Mego Corp sold over 20 million of its now standard 8-inch action heroes worldwide, and Mego Corporation is proud to take over that fine heritage today. So this is the modern next generation uniform. So I'm going to carefully pull out the tray. And let's take a look at this famous Starfleet captain. He's in the second season uniform, where it was a 2-piece instead of the 1-piece jumpsuit. The maker's mark is still on the back of the neck. The likeness of Patrick Stewart is pretty good, but I think they could have done a little bit more of the wrinkles under his nose, but still, I'm not complaining. He doesn't come with a communicator because the badge is the communicator. You can see his rank. And the let's see if we can carefully take the phaser off. But they call this the Dustbuster phaser. So he has this phaser that it's not the right color, but it looks correct in the shape. Let's see how he can hold it. Not very well, actually. So it might be better to just leave the phaser in his belt. He didn't really use it a lot anyway. That was what War for Tasha were for. But you can put him in diplomatic poses because he's Picard. Like, see here, or make it so. Or maybe we can do the face palm. Surely we can do that. Like, have him sitting in the chair with the face. That's the classic Picard pose. But he is, what they say, the best Star Trek was the original show, but maybe the best captain was Picard. That's what some people say. I liked Kirk, though. I mean, of course I love Picard. I thought he was great. I think I've undone his belt. I don't think they actually had a belt. I think it was Velcroed to their uniforms in the show. If you want to get really persnickety, but it still looks pretty good. It's just cool to have a Picard. And even the pants are right, because they have the sort of cutaway in the front. He's got the same kind of boots. It's the classic. That's how they hold up together. Looks like he was hitting the tanning bed a lot. Okay, so that covers it for Star Trek portion. Let's move on to the, well, let's do the Masters of the Universe portion now. And I'm really excited to show you this. This is the Beastman Retro Play action figure that you can get at Walmart now. Not to be confused with this different type of He-Man that I got recently, and there's another video for this. This is a separate issue of He-Man that was based off of a combination of the cartoon show and the original figure, with the same articulation as the original figure, and very much in the spirit of the original figure, except the head isn't hollow, and it didn't come with an axe, because in the cartoon show He-Man never really carried an axe, and a sword that's fully formed rather than just being one half of a sword. So Beastman, this new issue, the packaging is very, very similar to the old packaging that I remember. Sorry, I had to get some coffee. They have added some articulation features to it to make it a little bit more fun to play with. So I can see that he's articulated in the elbows. It looks like the shins, the ankles, the wrists, The waist, head. But other than that, I mean, it's very much in the spirit of the old packaging. So the picture looks to be the same. The ferocious beast man uses mind control to force animals to do Skeletor's evil bidding, and he carried that whip, which I don't even think was in the show. Includes comic book, which I'll show you. Modernizing and celebrating the original 80s Masters of the Universe action figures. Masters of the Universe Origins gives you the power to pose or Eternia's greatest warriors as retro-style figures or in the new action-packed battle positions. And you can flip his whip. And then you could also get Skeletor, Evil Lyn, He-Man, Teela, or Man-at-Arms. And Man-at-Arms with a mustache, where the original figure didn't have one. And there's a comic book in here. So let's carefully open this without damaging anything. So, first, I can get the comic book out. So the comic book was practically glued in there, which is not cool. They should have had it in a little plastic envelope, in my opinion. The artwork doesn't look like the original comics. This looks modern to me. This doesn't look like what the originals looked like at all. This style of artwork. I mean, it's in the spirit. And it's nice to have a comic book to come with a figure. But still not. And then there's a once again the same ad to get the other figures. So I see what they're trying to do, and I appreciate it. You take the figure out and do some cuts here. Okay. Take all the rubber bands. They got ample rubber bands on him. So, Mary bought me the Beast Man because I always wanted one as a kid and I never had one. And because Beast Man was in the original commercial that I remember. And he was fighting against He-Man in the first commercial I ever saw. And then when I went to my friends' houses, they always had the He-Man action figures. I always wanted this Beast Man. In my whole childhood, I only ever had one He-Man action figure. We were on a trip. We stopped at a grocery store. My parents saw one He-Man in the clearance section of a grocery store of all places. And I think I was bored wherever we were going. I think it was a business trip my mom and dad were on. So my dad got the He-Man for me just to sort of like a conciliatory thing. So yeah, so you have to put these arm guards on him. Might be easier to actually do it up first. Okay, and then slide the arm guard on. That's more like it. Nope. There we go. Now it's looking a lot like the figure from the 80s. He's got, he has his whip. And I think the whip goes on this hand. Or does it go on this one? Ah, this hand. So he can whip the beasts and cause trouble for He-Man. But they look great together. Because, I mean, this was the... One thing I'm a little bummed about is it doesn't have the spring-loaded... like He-Man has the spring-loaded punch. That was the selling feature of the original He-Man, was that they would punch each other with the spring-loaded action on the waist. They did away with that. But that's okay, they pose nicely. And they look good together. So, let's look at these miniature versions put out by Mega Constructs. Which is interesting because they look so much like these characters. Little baby Beastman, little baby He-Man. They can have their kids battle out next to them, I guess. You can also get Teela, Skeletor, Prince Adam, I guess Stratos. And I'm not sure who that is. A lot of stuff is just going to fall out of this. In my opinion, this is the kind of thing that's made just to be opened. And you got information. I think that's everything. So let's put it all together. They gave us a little pamphlet to show us how everything, well, I mean, it looks like the characters are already assembled. So all we really got to do is just arm them. So there's a little staff to give to Beastman. There's a little shield. It goes like this. So you can put the shield. Oh, this is so cool. Oh my gosh. A little baby He-Man. Look at that. Give him his little sword of power. How cool is that? He's not quite as tan, but the details are great. And then you could put this, or like the old action figure, you could put the sword on the, well, I don't think you can put the sword on his back, but you can give him his battle axe. Beastman comes with this he has this sort of razor pike. Look at little baby Beastman. All of his little baby parts. You can give him his little whip. See, he's like, Daddy, let's go fight. This is crazy. And then you can give Beastman a little sword. How cool is that? And then you got little stands for them. So you can display them next to their parents. Let's see. There's Beastman on his little stand. And you can stick his other weapon maybe behind him so you can stow it there. Whoops. Seems like you should be able to do that. That would make sense to me. And then you could stow He-Man's axe behind him. Yeah, there we go. Then you can have them complete and ready to display next to the bigger versions of themselves. I think that's great. Awesome. Okay, so let's move this aside. And finally, let's look at this. This is all of my parts for Bro Thor. Save one. And his brand new Groot built Stormbreaker hammer. And then let's look at Heimdall, which is one of the coolest characters in Thor with his, well, let's look at the back. Guardian of the Bifrost Bridge, Heimdall uses his all-seeing eyes to protect Asgard at all costs. So, he comes with the coolest sword ever, and the final part for Bro Thor here. So, this is from the Infinity War line. And first we'll take off the final part. Oops, that went too long. Take out Heimdall and carefully see if we can take out the sword without bending it. Oh, that's pretty. Let's look at the details on the sword. Wow, it looks great. It really looks great. Considering that Marvel Legends usually don't do a lot of details, but they definitely put the details on this, which is great. Heimdall has a cloak that is on pretty well. You'd have to remove the head to take it off, but you can. So, I'm always a little leery about removing heads on these because there's a little internal peg, and you have to line it up, and I always feel like that might break. So, but you can certainly take the cloak off. But you can have him, he can hold the sword really, let's see. Let's kind of open his hand up. Unfortunately, it's made kind of a softish plastic. Okay, so you can have him hold the sword. It's huge, and it looks great. And if you watch the Thor movies, you know he uses the sword to control the bridge to control the portal by stabbing it into the sort of, there's like a pedestal, and he puts it in there, and that controls the Bifrost Bridge. It looks like Idris Elba really well, and they've got the cool eyes. And now we can finally assemble Bro Thor from Avengers Endgame, wearing his Big Lebowski robe and pajamas. And I think I'll go with this head. Although, well, the head with the sunglasses really does say Bro Thor, so I think we do need to use this one. Head on. One leg. Two legs. And you have to put the robe on. And kind of get the hair over it. There we go. Try to tuck the whole robe under the hoodie. And it wouldn't be a Build-A-Figure without being nearly impossible to put together. I think you need the strength of 4 just to put this thing together. There we go. Wow. Let's start loosening up the joints a little bit. He does come with his okay. Wow. This is Bro Thor with sunglasses on, with Stormbreaker and his sort of gloved hands. He does have an alternate hand that has the, I guess, is that a, what was that? Camera? Is it the time tracker thing? And he does have an alternate head without the sunglasses on, but this is the better head to use. He's wearing his hoodie. He has his robe on with the robe tie on the back, which is cool. He's put on a few pounds from drinking beer. He has these striped pajamas and Crocs, which is the first action figure I've ever owned that's wearing Crocs, which is just great. Just a great, funny scene from the movie, and a funny Build-A-Figure that, I mean, this is great. Everyone should have this. Everyone should have this Build-A-Figure. ZD Toys, I think, the company I've showed you other figures, has an alternate version of this. Wearing a different outfit. He's wearing like a blazer with a kind of ugly shirt under it and sweatpants. So if you want another Bro Thor, you can check that out too. Go to eBay or Google it. I was like, wow, so there is another one you can get probably cheaper than trying to do this whole Build-A-Figure. I like this. This is a funny addition to my collection. It's the Crocs, and of course the Noble Heimdall and the Bro Thor, who is in a state of sadness, and so there we have it. So when it was all said and done, we looked at these two. We looked at Beastman, 2 Star Trek figures, 2 small versions of Masters of the Universe figures. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm gonna have a little more coffee. If you like my channel, please subscribe and click the bell icon for more videos. And leave me a comment, give me a thumbs up. Until next time, bye.